Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the BG Show. I'm here joined again by my friend Adam, who covered all of season one of House of the Dragon with me, my former college roommate. We're here back again to call it to cover season two. I thought it was a pretty strong opening episode. So this is your official spoiler warning. We will be spoiling season one, the first episode of season two, the books, probably parts of Game of Thrones, potentially parts of other series that you might mention. So let's just get right into it. Um, I thought it was a pretty strong opening episode. As someone who isn't a book reader, I thought it was paced better than I thought. I was expecting kind of like a slow, whatever episode with, maybe one death, but it kind of just kept going and going and going. Um, I thought I was gonna not remember. I didn't. Some people rewatched season one. I never watched season one at all. I didn't even really watch any YouTube clips of season one. But I was like right back into it. I was kind of surprised how much I got sucked back in. I wasn't expecting to kind of remember where I was after season one. The only thing I really struggled with was kind of like Jace and like some of the kids, who the kids are. But other than that, I thought it was good. So what did you think?
It was an okay opener. I thought I watched it twice. I thought on the first watch I liked it, like it was solid. On the second watch, I didn't like it as much. It was paced well. It was a good setup for the rest of the season. But it was okay. Maybe I'm a little biased based on obviously the last
Yeah.
20 minutes. That's really the big talking point here. It was very different. I'm fully okay with them not showing them killing the kid. Like that is not my issue with it. Like
So
you
I
you
No,
knew
yeah, I
what
don't
was
want to
happening.
interrupt you. When that happened, I don't know if I had this problem, but my screen was dark. And so I kept hearing it, but I didn't see it. So I wasn't sure if that was just me or if no one saw it. So no one saw it.
Yes, they did it off screen. You heard the noises
Yeah.
and you watched Helena run through the
And the
keep it.
noises were intense too. Whoever did that sound is kind of nasty.
That was fine. Like that I
Yeah.
was perfectly okay with them not showing it. Like they did it, you heard it. And like you said, it was like you knew what was happening. Like that's all that mattered. But everything leading up to it, and we'll get to it. Just that really was a big change. For what they changed, I think it was okay. I think that like what I'll say later, you'll see why it would have been better. But overall, it was a decent opener. It was a little, it moved well, but nothing really happened other than that last 20 minutes.
Yeah, so I guess okay, so again, spoiler warning. The last 20 minutes they sent so cheese and blood and cheese are the two guys,
Hmm.
the new I guess two new characters. The big thing from this episode who get hired by Damon to essentially take revenge on Allison really take revenge on Aemond.
Yeah, I mean,
Who's the guy with one eye? It's Aemond.
that's Aemond.
All right, yeah. She wants Rhaenyra wants Aemon dead. I got the names right. And so yeah, so he sends these two fuckheads to kind of I don't think I was confused of is like the distance, like where are they coming and where are they going from? Like how because I know like King's Landing from Game of Thrones, but where were they like sneaking and how are they able to just sneak in to kind of like a royal.
All right, so I guess we could just start there. I mean, when you first saw them entering it, they were entering it through the sewers from whatever for whatever reason. And Cheese, like he said, he knew the tunnels. He's a legitimate rat catcher there. So the tunnels, and we saw it in the first season when Rhaenyra goes through the tunnel, and that's where she meets Daemon at the bottom. Like only the Targaryens are supposed to know the tunnels. Obviously, this guy knows it for whatever reason to catch rats, and it's to Team Black's advantage, if you will. It's the whole after that is when everything changed, basically, is like the whole process. So we can either do one of two things, in my opinion. We can do everything that got us to the 20 minutes, or we can focus on the 20 minutes. I think we can just go real quickly through the
Yeah.
first call it
I
40 minutes.
guess quickly, I guess we'll just go over the main parts. So I guess the biggest thing, I guess, like I said, I'm a fan of Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, but I have not read a page of any books. Maybe I will in the future, but I haven't yet. You've read all the books, or close
Hmm.
to all the books. So we kind of are, I think it's good we're covering all angles here, but just to like see where our opinions are coming from, I think it's important for people to know that. Um, so yeah, I think the biggest thing is there's no time jump. I think it's only like a matter of days when the season starts, right? Or maybe weeks since the last season one.
I would say like everything that happens basically after Viserys's death. So basically, the minute Viserys dies, I would say everything happens within like a fortnight, which is basically a month, maybe a
Okay.
little bit longer than that. That's like the time span. So they that's why they went way quickly in season one because the next, I guess, two, three, 4 seasons, whatever they do, it's supposed to cover only 2 years. So this is like the last two, three episodes basically was 1 month that they covered. Viserys' death, the Green Council, Aegon's coronation, the Black Council, and then obviously the big thing for those who don't remember or just haven't watched yet, Vagar accidentally, because that's how they kind of set it up, kills Luke and Arax, and that's what sets off the war, and basically gets us to this episode.
Yeah, I
So,
thought. Yeah, sorry.
I thought it was a very, just to start it from, I thought it was a very good opener. They started with Winterfell. I'm sure a lot of people wanted to see the Starks, and they haven't saw them, so they started with Cregan. So let's see how they do Cregan. I'm not going to say much about him or what his character does. Let's see what changes they may or may not make to him. But Cregan is supposed to be an unbelievable swordsman fighter, like arguably up there with Damon. Like those are like the head guys right now. Uh, so it was good to see, Cregan and the Wall, more importantly. And for me, and the White Walkers are not mentioned at all in this book that the show is based on. So it was a nice change for them to mention it. So I'm sure you enjoyed that part.
Yeah, so I guess that scene at the wall was that just it was hard for me to tell if that scene was actually supposed to be in the plot or is that just HBO being like, "Hey, remember this? This is Game of Thrones," like to the casual fans. Or was that actually like a useful scene?
It was useful because I think it did two things. A, it did one very important thing is it did throw the Easter egg to the Game of Thrones fans that could be like, the White Walkers. So yes, you have that easy thing right there. But the other thing is for the people that are a little bit more deeper into it, it was nice because like the whole big thing with the North remembers the whole thing about remembering and not to get deep into it because it's very very nerdy on that is the whole point of remembering is the long night, the fight against the others, the White Walkers. So it was nice to see the Lord of Winterfell, Cregan Stark, be like, I care about the wall, like the real fight's here. Ned did not care about it. Like it got lost in translation. And clearly the Targaryens know about it. Like there's only at this point in the story, presumably, Rhaenyra knows and potentially Jace might know. And it would have been nice for them to have like more of a moment of Cregan and Jace and them talking about the White Walkers. That would have been better because okay, Jace knows Aegon's prophecy because he's the heir technically, and Cregan knows it because the big theory out there is Torrhen Stark knew it. So that's why he knelt to Aegon and they were going to fight the others. Obviously, it doesn't come for 300 years later. Then that's it. So then they leave the wall and that was like a nice like opener, definitely a good tease, and they get the letter that Luke is dead and Jace goes. But the tidbit really about Alysanne and Jaehaerys, their dragons going there and not going forward above the wall, that actually was written in the book. So clearly they disregarded that in Game of Thrones. Danny and Jon flew right over the wall, no
Does it say
issue.
why? Does it say why they don't go over?
Nope, it hasn't been. George has to write more. It just says, and Jaharis isn't there. It's Alysanne. It just says she tries to take Silverwing over the wall. She refuses to go, and she circles around and she kind of plays it off so the men of the Night Watch don't realize what's going on. Because you could tell the Night's Watch that you just saw in 3 seconds, it's way more stacked, and how Stark is caring about it. So it's a big deal. Not just like Benjen to a degree. Like Ned's like, all right, my brother is at the wall, whatever. But like truly caring about this, the infrastructure, the men, everything, then you basically get to King's Landing and real the story is in Dragonstone. So the one thing I would just go real quickly on is you see Corlys, obviously. He says hello, he's talking to his one guy. So they do talk about the Battle of the Gullet, the blockade. So they are talking about the Gullet. So they are talking about something that's going on there. So they kind of like they are jumping the story a little bit to prepare people. Like they're doing a blockade of this gullet. And then you go basically from the gullet, you go straight to, because Rhaenys is talking about it. That's how it starts after Cregan, basically. And Daemon says, let's go. We're going to go kill Vagar. That was great. Like Damon's first scene, like, let's go, get on the dragon, we're killing Vagar. What did you think of that?
Um, yeah, I thought it was really cool. What's her name? She's Viserys' sister. What was that?
Rhaenys?
Yeah.
No, so Rhaenys is Viserys's cousin, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, right, right,
Or
right. Yeah.
Rhaenys is,
She was the one who's passed over, right? For
yeah, well, yes. I don't remember it right off the top of my head, but Rhaenys' father was a brother to Daemon and Viserys' father. So I'm pretty
okay.
sure they're cousins.
So
But
yeah, so I think, and then I guess the other big thing was Damon's like former girlfriend slash prostitute. What's her name? The white what? The white.
White Worm,
Oh yeah, the white worm.
Miseria. But I mean, it was Rhaenys coming in. She's tired from patrolling. Damon's like, all right, let's go. And she's like, no, you're not the king or queen. Rhaenyra is. And his point is Rhaenyra is mourning. She goes and finds the wing. And that was nice. They do the wing. Syrax is kind of sad. And then she comes back. She does, I want Aemon. But the other main thing that we're glossing over is Alicent and Cole. Like the first scene of Alicent is Cole eating her out, and it's just like, that's a change. And
Were
it's
they
just
not?
like,
Were they together in the book, or what was in the book?
that's not in the book at all. That Alicent and Cole ever had a thing, and anything like that. I
That's
mean,
just so that's just HBO shit. That's HBO needing a sex scene as usual.
and that's really where we'll segue. It's like the big thing being blood and cheese is like, if they wanted to put Alicent and Cole together, fine. But I didn't think it need to be thrown in our face just like randomly like that.
They love that shit.
That's fine. But I mean, in this episode, they could have stuck to the source material and they could have easily have done it next episode. And I can explain my thinking is all right. Basically, blood and cheese in the book is this, and you can tell me if you thought this setup would have been better. Miseria, she does help Damon get in contact with Blood, who's a guy in the City Watch. How she got on that boat, we don't know. So they were in contact with each other, Damon and Miseria, even though they have their riff. Then, I don't know. And here's my issue. It's like, all right, Game of Thrones, we're used to seeing the journey. They're not doing that anymore. Like, granted, he has a dragon, but he's trying to sneak into King's Landing, so he just goes from Dragonstone to King's Landing in, like 5 minutes. Okay, fine, whatever. Then, okay, so he sneaks in, he talks to Blood and Cheese, he gives them the order, and it's explicit that it's a son for a son, and that was the name of the episode. So like they had to get a son. I think that is very easy to understand. So a lot of people need to understand a couple things. Aemond is not that he's a better fighter than Daemon, but he is a very good swordsman, and like he's the prince. Like you're not going to just be able to walk around and get to the prince, you know what I mean, and just fight him in the hallway. So it's definitely left a little bit more open to just go for a son, and that's what they did, and it was kind of good. But it's extremely different in what happens. So in the books, because Aegon is the king, Alicent is the Dowager king, queen, and they did mention her title, like formally. She lives in the tower. She lives in the the Tower of the Hand because her father is the Hand of the King, Otto. She lives in the hand of the Tower of the Hand. That's different than the Red Keep. Okay, so Blood and Cheese, they sneak into the Tower of the Hand and they go to her chambers and they know a secret way in because they know every night before going to bed, Helena brings the children to say goodnight to their grandmother, Allison. Okay? Pretty easy to understand. They go up into the thing, and there's a tunnel, and there's a passage to get into her room. They open the room. There is a maid there. They showed the maid in the room, and they kind of showed it. He's walking around with a torch, like you're just walking around the royal apartments, and everything's unlocked, and like there's no guards. Like Allison's door was unlocked. We'll get there. Like it was bad. So They come in through there. They kill the maid immediately. They gag and tie and bound Allison to like a chair or something. So she can't talk, she can't scream. They killed the bed maid. They're waiting for Helena. Helena brings in the kids. She has three children in the books. I'm going to assume one of them is fully cut out because if he was involved, there was no reason not to be in the scene. His name is Maelor. So it's Jaharis, Jahara, and Maelor. Helena walks in, they put the knife to her, and they say to her, "Don't scream or we'll kill you." So they did keep her quiet because I saw some people and I did hear people at work ask me, like, how did she not scream? Like, and she doesn't scream in the book. And basically, they say to her, we are here to take one of your sons. We're going to kill one of them. We're going to let you pick. And if you don't pick, we're going to murder and rape your daughter and then kill you. So way more very violent and gruesome and threatening. Eventually, she picks Maelor. So she picks the kid. And in the show, they have her they have her pick out which one is Jaharis and which one is Jahara. That was the dumbest thing. You could have easily just pulled down one of their pants and saw which was which. You
Yeah.
didn't need to have her, pointed out. So they let her pick between which son. So she picks Maelor, and the thinking is because Jaharis is his eldest son.
Wait, so
They
who's her father?
what?
Who's her father? Viserys?
Helena,
Yeah.
Viserys,
Uh,
Aegon and Helena are sister
so
husband,
that these kids to Allison are like she's a stepmom. No, she's
a grandmother.
step grandmother. Well,
Yes, yes, step
that's not
grandmother.
her daughter, right?
No, well, no, Helena is her child. So yes, no, it's her grandchildren,
Wait, Helena's her actual child?
bro.
I thought
Aegon,
I thought Helena was from Viserys' previous wife.
no, only Rhaenyra.
Uh,
Aegon, Aemon, and Helena, all from Allison.
oh, so
Rhaenyra,
they actually are her kids. Okay, I don't know why I thought that. Okay.
yes. Jaharis, Jahara, and
So it's
Maelor
her
are
actual. So it actually is her granddaughter, a grandson,
correct. Yes, it is her grandson.
and the
And
guy who would have been king. No, Aegon's
oh,
son would be king.
well, Aegon is sitting the throne, as we saw. And that
So
was like one of the better.
if he has a kid, that would be the king. Not
That was one of, well, Jaharis was the heir, but they just killed him. So
how is he
he,
there?
Aegon is king, dude. He's sitting on the throne. Jaharis is his son. They just killed him. That's the end of
Wait,
him.
so Aegon. Wait. So the brother and the sister have a kid together.
Yes.
Okay, is that's not new for this season?
They showed them at the end of last season very briefly for like, remember the very
Is
little
that a
kids?
known thing among the family, or is that like a secret thing?
No, dude, it's very known. This is the
Okay.
problem with season one. And it's good
Oh,
that
so
you're
the
not right.
king's son was killed. That's what I missed.
Correct.
I'm
Aegon's
thinking of
son.
the family. Okay.
Aegon's son was killed. But in the books, she points to Maelor, and then they kill Jaharis they take off his head in
If
one stroke.
so now that he doesn't have an heir, if Aegon was to get killed, Aemon, his brother, would be the king then, right? The
I
younger.
assume he would. I guess that's what they're going to
So they
do. Is
actually helped him. Not only did they not kill him, they helped him kind of get closer to the
they
throne.
helped Aemon get closer.
Yeah.
But that's if you're a supporter of Aegon. So that was like Aegon was actually one of the better parts of the episode. I think he was pretty funny. Like he's sitting on the throne, he tried to do the right thing by give the guy his sheep, if you remember, and Otto was like, "No, you can't do that because then everyone's going to ask, and you're going to have to do it," which he's sort of right about. Then he's drunk on the throne as they walk right by him, like you're just gonna walk right by the king of the seven kingdoms as the rat catcher. Like it just seems a little off. And if you heard that, like they snuck into her room, they gagged and bound Allison. She had a watch as Helena picked. Like that would like there was no reason to run to her room. Like why did they need to make her run in and show like Allison fucking call again at that point? Like there was no reason to do that. Like what they could have done is, and this is my point, they could have done it exactly like in the book. They come in, gag and bound Allison. She picks Maelor, kill Jaharis. They run out. Whatever happens next happens next. Then next episode, you could have had Cole run in, see it. Everything transpires from there, because Helena screams or Jahara screams, whatever. Helena, Cole runs in, And then later in that episode, the next episode being, they could have had Cole, comforting Allison for whatever, and then lead into them having sex. Like, if they really wanted to do that, they did not have to, you know, mix this moment up. I'm completely in agreement with them not having to show them kill a very little kid. And the kid was very cute. And he was great at pestering Tywin Lannister. It was pretty funny, like Aegon's whole the bowl of Aegon this part episode. So I just don't like how they did it. It just, you're
Oh,
going to come
it
in.
was the same kid that was at the High Council meeting.
Yes, that was Jahar. That's who they
Uh,
killed.
okay,
That's who they killed.
now it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't go back and rewatch, it makes sense because it's been off for 2 years, and that was my big problem with season one is they moved way too quickly. Like, you didn't really have a chance to really develop any true connection or emotion or attachment to a lot of the kids.
Yeah, that's the
Mostly,
thing is, yeah, they killed a kid, what you think would have like the biggest emotional impact, but at the same time, you don't really know the kid at all. So it's like you're
all
like,
the
oh
memes,
shit, they killed a kid, but you don't really like.
all the memes I saw today was not about the kid, but it was about Cheese kicking the dog.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
like that just goes to show you, like like when Bran got flung from the tower in Game of Thrones, like it you kind of established something with Bran. Like you kind of knew who he was. He was Bran Stark. He was cute. You liked him. Whatever. Like you had no idea who this kid really was. Like you said, like you didn't remember. Like you had to pay attention. You just realized, okay, that's Aegon's son. And then later they kill him. Like I just really didn't like. It was like which one's the boy and girl? It's like you pull down their pants. You could figure it out real quickly.
mhm.
So, and then she runs into Allison's room, no guards, it's unlocked. Like you're talking about the king and queen of like, they're just it just left a bad taste in my mouth. Like I think you will agree with me. What I just told you with the source material, it would have been way better. They come in, gag and bound Allison. She has to watch that, then Helena, the whole night. Like that would have been way better television.
Yeah, I don't know why they. I mean, they obviously don't shy away from that kind of stuff, and especially in the season premiere, it's a little bit surprising they wouldn't try and get super intense. I don't know. Maybe they don't. They're trying to like they don't want to get too nasty to like scare people away. They'll try to get more of like a middle ground audience. But other than that, I don't know why they do that.
I mean, I don't think you
There's
can really.
there's a new director this season, right? A new guy.
I
So
mean, that episode was directed by Alan Taylor. I think he directed some Thrones episodes and maybe even
he
some,
did. I
even
forgot
some,
which one, but he did a big one.
maybe Hard Home. I
I was
think
listening to a
even
podcast, but he was I forgot what that episode, but it was a big one.
maybe it was even also maybe even a House of the Dragon episode. But even then, like you can make changes. That's fine. It's just like, and you can have Allison, and like I'm saying, like you want Allison and Cole to have a romance, fine, do it. Like whatever. But it's like you're killing a kid. I don't think there is a middle ground for happy medium. Like like you heard it. Like you know what's going on. Like you didn't need to throw some mindless bullshit sex in this episode to get people talking about when you're killing an innocent little kid and the mother is picking the kid to die more or less. Like that was like the whole like shock. And it just the way they did it was just very meh, in my opinion. Like they had an unbelievable layup. They had a fast break to put an NBA play into it, and they missed the dunk. Like they went for like in between the legs 360, and they completed it, but then they fucked up the actual dunk, and it ricocheted off the rim.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So let's see what else we didn't. I guess looking forward to the season. Not to spoil anything, but I've heard episode 4 is a very big episode. It's like the big action episode. I'm trying to think what else.
Well, I kind of want to hear what you've heard.
No, I didn't hear anything else. I didn't read. I didn't want to read anymore. Just all I heard was just that episode 4 is their big episode. I don't know how accurate that is.
I mean, from what I read, it
They said it's
probably.
the episode that's like going to leave audiences very excited and like kind of in awe of the action. That's what they said.
I mean, I'm going to be very honest. I mean, I don't know uh, how much rope I'd give it. I mean, I'd still will watch it every Sunday and whatnot, but
Yeah.
there's been a lot of bad, unnecessary changes. Like the whole, the Green Council last year was kind of meh. I mean, there's a lot just off the top of my head. Just a basic one, which they could have easily have done, but which I kind of understand in retrospect because you're watching it on TV, is the Great Council between Viserys and Rhaenys. That's not what it is. It's between Viserys and Laenor. That's what it is in the book. Then, but they made it Rhaenys in the show. Okay, fine, whatever. It made for better television. Like it is what it is, even though they wind up being on the same side anyway. And it kind of like makes the whole mend the House Valerian Targaryen wound better that Lara Strong was talking about with marrying Rhaenyra to Laenor. So, like that's just one little change. But then you have the dragon coming through through the ground. Like that was a bad change. Like they just killed like tens of thousands of innocent people. Like that never happens.
Yeah.
Like, there's. I'm still gonna watch. I mean, I think for the rest of the season, a lot of it is going to be depending on how quickly they want to do these journeys. Like, I get it, you have a dragon, so in Game of Thrones, it's very different because think about it, when Rob and the North was going all the way south to the Riverlands, it took them a good whole season to get through the Riverlands and then, fight Jamie at the Whispering Woods and the whole 9 yards. This with Damon, okay, fine, he's going to get on a dragon and he's going to be on the Vale, in 20 minutes time. But the whole army shouldn't be able to do that. So it will be interesting to see what they do if they just kind of speed it up so we don't get those journey and those great dialogue talks. That's like what made Thrones so good. We'll see. But
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of it'll be good. It should
I
be a
mean,
lot of
regardless of the
battle.
storyline, at least the show looks good because I mean, I'll do this in other videos, but compared to what Disney's putting out, it's just like I can't even, it's hard to even describe just how a big thing is the costumes. The costumes, I don't know who's making the costumes for Disney, not to go off track, but the costumes here at least look lived in. Like you don't think about them. It doesn't look like people in costumes. You're just kind of like in the world. When you watch Disney shit, it's like these motherfuckers are wearing costumes. It looks like they're on a Broadway show. Um,
They they have a very, very good makeup design costume department. It's why they've won awards. No one's doubting that. It's just the storytelling and the writing at times. It's just like you and George actually made a comment like about a month ago about writers taking original pieces of art, changing it, thinking it's going to be better, and 99% of the time not being as good. And after seeing this, I think he's actually talking about this one episode. Like I bet you, I bet you he still was happy that it was I'm sure he still liked it to a degree, but it's a very, very different change. And the way they did it, like just really poor.
I was gonna say, um, my closing point was gonna be, I'm wondering if Game of Thrones needs a show more on the ground level, or if one
So
even exists. If there's a show about, because pretty much everything we get is around, you know, royal people. We should get some shows about just a regular Joe.
that's really funny you say that because they actually started filming on Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And yes, it is following a royal princeling, Aegon the Fifth, known as Egg, but all he's doing is going with I'll call it, he's the squire with the knight at the time, Dunk. He's going around Westeros and just hanging out with the small folk. And that's the next series. And what's really good about that is there's going to be it's going to be a lot easier to follow along because it's a nice small story and you're literally in the thick of it with the small folk. There's three short stories. I won't spoil all of it. The first one, you're going to have a lot of royal people in it. That's just kind of how it starts. But the basis of it, of Dunk and Egg, is them wandering Westeros and just talking to whoever you bump into on the road. And if you read the books, whether it is specifically the books that Thrones are based on, like, you know, a lot of it is just who you meet on the road, and specifically Brienne's chapters, because Brienne is supposed to be a descendant of Dunk. So that's actually a pretty cool little thing that people picked up on that Dunk has left little dunklings, they call it, and Brienne is one of them. So, it's because Brienne's story parallels Dunk and Egg, just wandering basically and getting lost with the small folk of Westeros and good people and bad people. So you're getting that, next year with the Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
Yeah. All right. So I think that closes us out. Thanks everyone for watching. If you've gotten to the end, I really appreciate it. Again, if this is your first time watching my channel, we did a review for every single episode of season one. So go back and watch that. But I think gonna try and get quality a little bit better. I'm gonna try play around with a few things. Maybe we'll have bring in a third guest. Who knows? But thanks to everyone for watching. Thanks, Adam, for stopping by again. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.